So sorry you haven't seen my lovely face for a while. It is difficult sometimes to break out of the routine that work and everyday life puts you in. But, the gods have been speaking pretty heavily to my mom and I since we've made a recent decision. I'll speak on that later. Not in this video, most likely. So, just by the by, this is the John Rice Mindscapes Tarot. It's a beautiful depiction that doesn't really focus on the people, more of the scenery and the energy. My mom uses this deck specifically to speak to Lilith of the dark feminine energy. I felt called to speak to Persephone, who, in something Mama was telling me, it's kind of reminding me of probably the most light of the dark feminines, because of course she is Hades' wife. She is the light in the bit of the abyss of the underworld, but that's a completely different subject. I have my own feelings about Hades and the misrepresentations that he gets. So the cards that came out is the reversed Hanged One and the Nine of Stones. Oh my god, really, John? There's a fucking polar bear on this. So, for those of you who don't know, I have a thing with polar bears. When I was a child, and the ASPCA commercials of, like, in the arms of the angels, and you would see the polar bears in their melting environment, that they just hurt me in such a deep way. And it was always a thing at home, which is like, think of the polar bear, Savannah. And so for the polar bear to be here in the Hanged One, which is representing the Hanged Man, which, of course, in traditional is in the upright, he is hanging upside down because he has to get a new perspective. But when the Hanged Man themselves are reversed, it is because they know, like I said, the decision has been made. I know the perspective and the isolation and desolation that polar bear had felt in that space. And it's such a counter or polar opposite, which I just actually, the anime Polar Opposite was the first clip to come on. And it was when one of Suzuki's friends was asking her if she was dating Tani. And they had just started, like, confessing that they liked each other. So, like, it wasn't there yet. But, like, Polar Opposites was already here. So, that is, but again, that is Persephone and Hades. So, okay, that's really interesting. Nine of Stones, the Nine of Pentacles. This is a celebration of the things that you have worked for right before that familial peace that you see in the Ten of Pentacles of just like everyone around, everyone thriving, everyone happy. Two of Tides at the bottom of the deck here. And I feel there is this parting, and this parting can only happen, or these things can only happen from this parting. Something has to part. Things cannot stay together the way they were. These two ships will pass in this night. And despite those who may feel the fright of what they have lost with the Six of Stones in reverse, the High Priestess in reverse has had to sacrifice her power, and the Star needed to cut out because, yep, Ten of Stones. The High Priestess cannot rule in this place because it is not where her voice is heard, not where her message is needed. It's one thing that you hear a lot when you're starting a business and stuff is you have to find your market. When you're learning to use like SEOs and things and hashtags to make yourself seen, you have to understand that if you are, for example, a jewelry and content creator, you really can't do hashtag hunting because then your content is going to show up in a place that is not receptive to you. And that is going to associate everything with you, your work, and your energy with things that have not accepted you. And then that's going to make you think you are not accepted, that you do not have the power because you are not in an area that will accept what you are offering. The Six of Stones, the Six of Pentacles. That card is depicted of sharing, of people asking, of giving, like, give me more. You have this great thing. Please let me have it. Please let me have it so that I can have that greatness that you have. But that's not how it works. Literally, I almost had this conversation with my coworkers yesterday, but I realized it would just be falling on deaf ears. When I'm like, I told the two drivers here, like, I am a witch. I can make anything happen for myself. And both their immediate responses are just like, well, where's our $1,000,000? And I'm like, money is not the answer to make you happy. And the one guy was just like, if I had $1,000,000, I wouldn't have anything to be upset about. And I just had to walk away because that's so clearly where these people are at. The Page of Spires. Wow. So this is coming from the perspective of a hot air balloon, but in reverse, it really does feel like things are falling. So spires would be wands. No, swords, because there's branches. So swords is associated with wind. Wind is associated with the mind. So the Page of Spires. Yeah, this old thought process, this old distance, because I see like almost prison cells here. And there's something else over here. And I almost saw this as like a vase, a vessel itself, when this is in fact the balloon inverted. So there is always something that you thought you needed from someone else. You thought that there was something just out of your reach. And the Five of Stones is a lot more simple. Coming to a sanctuary after so much isolation. Look at all those mountains. And what did we start with? Mountains. The Hierophant in reverse. Yep, you have been disconnecting yourself from spirit, from the work that you need to do internally, and there's absolutely zero judgment. Like I said, when I came on, I have been disconnected because I have been distracted. I have been just the Devil in reverse, High Priestess in reverse. I have been distracted from the things in the everyday world, that hustle and bustle of the life that we're supposed to live, that I have not taken the time for myself to do what I need to do for myself, to release. Like, hell, I journaled for the first time since like January 12th last night. And I was literally thinking and feeling in myself how much of what I don't say lingers in myself, and then that's why I can't sleep at night. That's why it feels like I can't slow down. It's because I haven't let out the things that I said I couldn't deal with in that moment and then just never dealt with. Queen of Stones. Give yourself this peace to release. Allow yourself. I'm literally seeing one of the Greek Isles in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it's during the part of the story where your main character actually gets a moment of peace, where they have their family, they have their spouse, their child, their father-in-law, and they actually have like a domestic moment. And this is what I see for you right now. The Queen of Stones is this finality of not just an end of, but finally I can breathe. Finally, I can move again. Because you've had to be so on the alert. Look at the deer down there. While one is drinking and trying to get some nutrients, the other one has to be on alert for danger. There's no way you can relax when there's a part of you that is always bracing for impact. And that's why I need to leave. What do you need to do? I love you so very much. And I'm so very proud of you, my dears. Brightest blessings.